Are the Suns frauds?
No, I mean, you start to get some during this series, the way they were mocking Luka at times. I mean, I don't know why you want to poke that bear in the way they did. It kind of reminded me of how condescending the Miami Heat were in 2011 towards Dirk Nowitzki. You remember that with like the fake cough and all the stuff? Like there was a level of arrogance to that Miami team in the NBA Finals that caught up to them. I mean, the Mavericks were not as superstar laden as Miami was at that time, but they were the better team. And they came out and showed it. And like early in the series, there were some pot shots taken at Luka. A little bit later in the series, you're talking about the Luka special and how he's flopping and falling down, things like that. It felt a little over the top, especially for a team that hadn't won anything, that had gotten to the finals last year and lost to the Bucks in 6 games. So yeah, there's that part of it. But frauds, no. I just, as I wrap this series up, Dan, I go into the offseason wondering what Chris Paul has left in the tank at this point. I mean, games 1 and 2, look at the numbers. Games 1 and 2, he was excellent, like 24 points per game, something like that. You go to game 3, which not coincidentally is when he turned 37 years old. And from game 3 on, he was bad. He was averaging, I think, under 10 points per game in that stretch. In the last 2 games, he was awful. So it's almost like, he turns 37, he got old, like literally overnight in that game. So I go into next season wondering, did we just see kind of a change in Chris Paul? Is he going to be able to be the player he was during this season? Or do we now have to accept that Chris Paul is, while still a high-level guy, maybe going to be something of a diminished version of his former self moving forward?
Yeah, he turns 37. Luka just turned 23 in February. Like he's doing things that you're not supposed to do this.
He's not. But don't you? Speaking of like vibes off teams, like, yeah, look, the Mavericks are good. The Spencer Dinwiddie trade was great for them. Jalen Brunson is excellent, but don't you get kind of some like 06 Cavaliers? Or was it 07? The team that LeBron kind of strapped to his back and took to the finals that year. That team had some good players. Like Larry Hughes was good. Eric Snow was good, but there was no stars on that team. Like, don't you get a little bit of that with this Dallas team? Like, there are good players, and those players showed up in Game 7. Phoenix's role players did nothing. Dallas's role players did everything. But, Luka outscored the Suns in the first half of that game by himself. Like, how often do you see that? I mean, this to me feels a lot like that LeBron year where he just took the Cavs into the finals with a bunch of guys that were good, but nowhere near, championship level.
Talking to Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated senior writer. If you were going to describe Luka to somebody who hadn't seen him, what words would you use?
Larry Bird, but a better ball handler. I mean, he makes the kind of shots that Bird made, and I grew up watching Larry. Turnarounds, fadeaways, effortless three-pointers. He can just do more with the ball, I think, than Larry Bird could have done in his best days. That's pretty much it. He's Bird with better ball handling skills.